The Fletch Cast. It's genetics. Welcome, club members. It's good to see you again. Second show of the Fletch Cast. I'm stoked. We have our first guest ever, who happens to be...
I'm everybody's first guest, so when the show pops, they don't bring me back.
Without further ado, Zach Miller. Zach Miller.
What up, man? Good to be here. I've been hearing about the Fletch Cast in conversations for a long time. This has been a vision. I'm stoked, man. I'm stoked to be here. I feel well lit. I feel well recorded.
Now, when you say well lit, you mean lighting wise or otherwise?
I mean, I'm stoned, but like, you know, my sensei Rob Jurgensen told me, don't put it on a pedestal, bro.
All right, that's cool.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
so
cool.
I mean, in general, the lighting of the set. It's a very well done set by our man Mark.
Mark is good. That's young club member Mark.
Producer Sean McBride, who's an honorary club member.
He is.
Honorary club
Mike
member.
Green, who is a club member.
Mike Green's a club member. That's right.
Let me give our people some background. Zach Miller is a good friend of mine. We're business partners. We have a marijuana business. We do a lot of other things. What else Zach is that he is, I think, one of the most diverse club members ever. One of the things we talk about on here, and it's critically important to me, is having everyone understand the breadth of multiculturalism. People think if you're not, like me or young Mark, a club member, interracial club member, you're not a club member. But that's just not true.
Right.
Multiculturalism is about life experiences. And the way I've always viewed it, for example, if you're Caucasian and you have an Asian child or half Asian child, you are far less likely to say, I hate Asians, like something we've seen in the news this week. I don't know if you guys saw this, but he's usually a veritable bastion of honesty and character. But Rudy Giuliani posted. Did you see this?
Judy Giuliani?
Rudy.
This guy's ridiculous.
Rudy Giuliani posted this clip of him doing this Asian imitation. And it was fucking appalling. It wasn't even, and one thing you'll see on this podcast, we love a good ethnic joke, particularly if we just love them. But you don't love them if it's ugly and mean-spirited. We're going to play this clip and we'll come back and talk about it. But it is Rudy Giuliani talking about Asian people, and it's just appalling. So.
I don't even know when.
Jamie, you're getting too upset about this. You're going to be the most famous model in China.
Wow,
Oh, get me Jane Zirkle. Jane Zirkle.
Who paid for that? I don't know.
What would you like to have for dinner? Jane Zirkle, pick her. Jane Zirkle, pick her.
Himalaya, Australia, Athena.
I want Jane Zirkle, pick her. Picture Jane Zirkle. That's all. No one but Jane
This
Zirkle.
other person.
So Jane
Wait, let's
Zirkle.
get the takeaways.
Jane Zirkle. Jane Zirkle. Jane Zirkle.
And we're back. So, one of the reasons I did this show is I'm just, and you know this, Zach, you and I have talked about this forever. I'm adamant that multiculturalism is the answer forward. If you are part of a multicultural relationship, if you have multicultural kids, if it's where you're at, you just see things differently. You're not mired in shit. And ultimately, that will help us as a whole, but it'll also stop you from sounding like a fucking idiot doing Asian imitations. And so I asked
more hack comedy from the Trump crew, man.
Yeah.
Those guys, as a comedian, those guys are like the worst to watch.
You know what's unfortunate though, and I'm really just trying to avoid all that politics shit, because what's unfortunate is there may be a Republican side to this that is just getting mired in racism. I mean, because you're a Republican doesn't mean you're a racist. It doesn't mean you sit around making Asian jokes about people. And that's one of the unfortunate things. But the rest of it, it's...
But the party does not function or thrive or elect Donald Trump without the avid support of a racist base.
And that's true. I mean, but to me, though, I'd like to give them more credit, and I'd like to give... there are good conservatives out there. I'm sure they're just like, this guy's an idiot. However, one of the things I want to talk about on this podcast is that you have an obligation. us as multicultural people, we have an obligation when we see ugliness to say that's not cool. And in part, it's because of who we are. So I wanted to have you come on because I love you and I love your journey.
Love you too.
Zach is to steal one of Zach's lines, he is a Caucasian male, which he then says, I'm not Caucasian, I'm Jewish. The mother of his children, Giselle, is Filipina. I'm sorry.
She's American of Filipino descent. Yes.
Right. And
her parents were immigrants.
And which is amazing. She's Catholic and Zach is Jewish, and they have 2 kids. Brady, who is Brady 10?
Brady's 10.
And,
yeah, dude.
And Peyton, who is 28.
Yeah. She's 8 plus whatever fuck you is. I don't know how many years it is, but she's somewhere between 16 and 30 right now. I don't know, but she's not 8.
What's cool about the Peyton and Brady right now is Zach is Jewish, Giselle is Catholic. Now I'm a former Catholic, so but more power to Catholics. Right on. Peyton is wanting to be, is it christened? Is that what it's called? Into the Catholic Church?
Catechism.
Catechism. Well, you have to go through a catechism and then you get it.
Yeah, she's a little late because she's in 3rd grade. And Brady's going to have to power through his bar mitzvah training in 2 years starting next year, which is not going to be easy. But yeah, it's a unique situation.
But here's the thing is first of all, I don't think it's all that unique, particularly in New York where you have a more significant Jewish population, more Catholic. But it happens a lot, and
where one kid is one religion, the other is the other.
That I don't know. That's part of the reason I wanted to have you on is because how you and Giselle have approached this, I thought was cool as shit.
It wasn't we didn't put a lot of deep thought into it. Basically, what happened was, I guess this is pretty private, but I'll tell you on the Fletch cast.
All right.
So
But wait, before we do that, can we first? One of the real reason I wanted to have Zach on this show is Zach does the greatest multicultural joke ever.
I don't know about that,
dude. It every time he's told this joke for 5 years, I die every time. Could we at least have a lead in for this joke? Right. And it's Zach Miller doing Jew Lapino.
Well, see the good thing about the bad thing about not knowing how to throw to stand-up clips is that you don't say the punchline.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I fuck it up?
It's okay.
All right, this is right. Let's just say that it may or may not be.
I'll do the bit. So I'm a very lucky man. I have 2 beautiful children. My children are biracial. My children are Filipinos because their mother is Jewish, and I'm Filipino. Jalapeno's a good mix for my kids in some ways, other ways not so much. I think Jalapeno's a good mix for my son Brady because he's 10 years old. I'm hoping he can grow up to be a boxer like Manny Pacquiao, who at the same time can do his own taxes because Jewish people are good at taxes.
Good.
It's a terrible combination because with those 2 ethnicities, there's almost 100% chance that same son is going to grow up to have the smallest penis in the history of penis. Those of you like Fletch laughing right now clearly have no soul. There's nothing funny about that. That's my son! My only son. He's supposed to carry on my family name, and he's going to have a baby dick forever. Or until 3D biological matter printing, plastic surgery, and his bar mitzvah collide. Because that's pretty close. We're about 2 years out.
So there's hope for you guys.
Yeah, science has been doing some things, y'all.
All right.
We may be on the precipice of fake peni. They've had fake boobs for 40 years.
Damn. And now
they've had good ones for 20.
Penis.
All right. This is a long bit. You wanted it, you got it.
It's a great bit, but by the way, it's one of the parts about being multicultural that I love, and that's just the differences and how we come together. I wanted to talk to you. I wanted you to come today because I really thought that your experience being Jewish, being raised in a Jewish household, and the fact that you meet Giselle, who's Catholic, I think it's a riveting concept, and it's something.
My mom's family's not Jewish.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. My mother's.
Is your mom not Jewish?
She converted prior to my parents getting married.
Wow.
She had to be married in a Jewish synagogue.
Wow.
So she did all the classes and became Jewish. So technically, under Reform thinking, I mean, she was Jewish when she birthed me. I'm Jewish. I mean, it's like a cheat code, but yeah, Orthodox don't want to. The Orthodox don't want to hear none of that, but they don't want to hear none of most of what I'm kicking. So I don't really give a fuck what they think.
Wow.
My relationship is with that's the beauty of Judaism is that your relationship is directly with God. The rabbi is not a minister. He's not a priest. He's not a gateway to Adonai. I speak to God directly.
And that's cool.
So what you care about it is not relevant to me, dude. I'll talk to God myself. You go mind your own fucking business. How about that?
That's fine. However, I didn't know Zach was going to go on a tirade.
Hey, man, you wanted to know about my religion, you could get it.
But well, let me ask you this though. But were you raised in an observant home?
We had ham in our house. We didn't keep kosher.
But you had a bat mitzvah. Right?
I'm a bar mitzvah.
Oh, I'm sorry, bar mitzvah.
My sisters had a bat mitzvah. I mean, I went to religious school. Yes.
You went to a Jewish college?
I did not.
I thought you went to your grandfather. I thought. Well, let's do this. You have two, I think, pretty incredible, and your mom's amazing too. She's great. Yeah. But the stories about your grandfather and your father, I think, are important to this process, to where you are today, because I see them and I hear you talk about them. Your grandfather, you talk about him being a significant person in your life.
Both my grandfathers were significant people in my life, right? but in opposite ways. Like I said, my mother wasn't Christian or wasn't raised Jewish. She converted, so her parents were like Hallmark Christian. Like they didn't go to church, right. But we had Christmas and we had Easter, and it was more like just a reason to get everybody together. But there wasn't much religion. Nanny a little bit, my grandmother, right. Like that. But Pappy, he didn't have much religion. He went to the Korean War when he was 17. He took Inchine, saw 80% of his friends get killed, caught malaria on the way home.
And he was not religious. Is that
not very religious?
After all of that, he was not.
Not a religious.
Interesting.
Man.
Interesting.
But Christian by heritage, I guess. So that was kind of how he identified. But when he had Jewish grandchildren in York, Pennsylvania, the first thing he did was go and buy a big ass Star of David, and he used to walk in the bar with his cowboy hat and his Star of David and just wish a motherfucker would, bro. Because he was so proud to have Jewish grandchildren.
Right. This was your Christian grandfather.
This was my Christian grandfather.
Which, by the way, it's a good insight into why it is that how you are here today, and it's back to this premise of multiculturalism that
for sure,
if you have people loving you and caring about you and digging who you are, it gives you this certain thing. You know what I mean? You aren't embarrassed about being Jewish or not being Catholic or Christian. You were empowered by it. That's fucking great.
Well, also I was raised, my synagogue. I was always raised as a Reform Jew. My other grandfather, Elliot, was a big Democrat. Went to Yale, loved the synagogue, very involved, but not super religious, but, an active Reform Jew. And that's kind of the type of Judaism I was brought up in, was a kind of liberal, Reform Judaism, where it was, some of us keep kosher, some of us don't. It's not that big a deal. It doesn't define your relationship with God or what type of person you are. And then I went to, I was raised mostly in Temple Sinai in Pittsburgh, which was, very similar. You couldn't have, it wasn't the type of synagogue you could have pork in the synagogue, but you had to get that shitty kosher pizza when you were at Sunday school or whatever.
But you
consistently. But we always had outreach with our rabbi was the type of rabbi that always was doing those interfaith things with the imams and the father, whatever, the priests and
you grew up in Squirrel Hill, right?
Yeah, Squirrel Hill in Pittsburgh, which was the location of Temple Sinai, which is where that Trump supporter shot up 11 worshippers in Cold blood.
That was the first.
And he's still awaiting trial, by the way.
That was the first
Not
time.
guilty, pleading not guilty.
That was the first time when that happened that I saw you being emotionally impacted by anything. And it was ironic because
God, you pitch me like I'm so ice cold. Bro.
no, you're no. In fact, I'm doing the opposite. You are so even.
But I manage my emotions well.
Well, but that was one of those fucking stunning moments where, to me, it was you shot fucking an old man. I mean, just
a bunch of old people. For the morning, the day I got the news,
there was one guy who stops him, and the guy was like, hey, "And you shot him."
Yeah, I mean, we went there to murder people with an assault rifle, like a video game.
And I understand that, but under murdering people, you would just think you're not going to shoot an old man, and that's not what. It wasn't just that they were directed toward Jewish people. It's like you went and killed old people.
You're a pussy. You're a disgusting piece of shit. Which makes sense that you would follow such a disgusting piece of shit. The point of the story is, the morning I heard it, it was Saturday. And the first thing I was thinking is that's when bar mitzvahs happen.
Wow.
Because when I was growing up, Temple, that Tree of Life had a bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah. I mean, it was a huge congregation. So there was a kid turning 13 every week, almost, especially in the summer.
So do you think the guy was trying to target children?
I don't know what the fuck that dumbhead was doing, but the first thing I saw when I saw the victims, I said, thank God there weren't any children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that was like the first thing I thought. This guy went up and sprayed up a synagogue with a bunch of kids in it. And, not saying it's better when it's old people, but
they would. They would.
Yeah, they sure would.
Yeah.
And
there was another Jewish guy there who went out like a beast, dude. He just fucking got in front of people. It gives me goosebumps. It's amazing. People want to shit on religion, but at the core of religion, there are people like that dude who steps in front and says no. Yeah. I mean, that religion has this ability to bring us together. It has this ability to make us better fucking people. And it was weird in that you saw it. You saw people, I think there was a associate rabbi who was pushing people. It was when you have people, God, fucking, I'm going to cry and shit.
Yeah.
But when you have people saying, I'm going to help people. By the way, this is another ironic thing or interesting about Judaism is that if you look at the civil rights movement, it started in 1900s, 1910s, 1920s, the Jewish community was largely responsible for funding much of the civil rights movement. It's fucking incredible when you read it.
I used to do a joke about that.
Because you should.
How what's it called? Rabbi... I can't even remember the bit. It got cartooned. It's around. Look me up.
Well, the good news is
the point is that that's exactly right. And I was raised, and I always tell people this, and they can't get this through their fucking heads. No minority is safe unless all minorities are safe. And that was the lesson of the Holocaust. And if you can't get that, then I don't know what to do for you. But because I know too many Jewish people that cozy up to Republicans and shit because they make money together. And it's like, so you want to so you let a fucking brown man be put in and his children be put in concentration camps by the border so that you can make $250 instead of $180 next year. You're a fucking cock.
That's I think that's unfair to say that's a Jewish thing.
It's not a Jewish thing. I'm just saying there's plenty of Jews fucking with the Trump train.
Well, one of the things...
And there's plenty of brothers, too. And Mexicans. 30% of the vote in Arizona's Trumpy.
It's nationally. But one of the things that when I look at Jewish people, it's also what I talk about on this podcast. And that is to say that if you're in a multicultural relation, if you're multicultural, you should know better. And in the Jewish scenario, it's amazing. And I used to say this to people. And again, I'm half black. I can say whatever the fuck I want. But African Americans go on and on about slavery. And I'm like, it was fucking 300 years. Jewish people have been enslaved for thousands of years. It's not unique to African Americans. However,
but also trying to find a way to argue about who got it worse is a fucking ploy by people who want to keep us divided.
And I agree, but also to me, it's also part of it that it's beholden on Jewish people, or there's been a transition because older Jewish people, it's like older Italian. My kids are half Italian, hate their mom. I don't hate their mom, but they're half Italian. And if you look at the Italian experience in America, it's extraordinary about the discriminatory animus. And so I look at older Italian people, and it's like, you know better. And in the Jewish community for 50 years, the Jewish community knew better. And I think that there has been this moving away of thinking, you guys are going to be where, as I used to always say to you,
you're not white.
Yeah. Or it's like, we're going to be in the same fucking line. It's going to be the Jewish guy, the Mexican guy, the black guy, the interracial guy.
Once they get rid of all the browns and everything else, they're going to turn and blow your fucking head off.
Well,
and you, if you think that like you're that everything's going to be cool, like I don't know. You could probably clarify this, but there's the evangelicals, of course. This was something that always bothered me about Bush, is that he was an evangelical Christian who have they're basically self-fulfilling a prophecy. And as far as Jews, it's like they support Israel because all Jews need to be back in Israel for the fucking apocalypse to go down right.
It's
right?
one of the
It's like getting fattened up for the cook.
Yeah,
or however they say that with a turkey. You know what I'm saying?
Let's put some more meat on that. Under the conservative Christian approach, they believe that in order for Jesus Christ to return, you have to have Israel's destruction. And so you have these right-wing, I shouldn't say these ultra-conservative Christians out there arguing to help Israel. And in reality is the reason they want to help Israel is they want to kill everyone. But here's my point. I don't think most people believe that.
But here's my point.
No, but
that's a serious issue for a president to believe that.
Well, but it is. But again, this is why the main reason, and you know this, main reason I did this is it's up to us as multicultural people. You can look at that and go, hey, that's bullshit. You know, interracial young kid Mark here. We see these things and say it's bullshit. No, that's not right. It's that commonality of experience. It's like when you look at when your kids. It's. I was talking to you yesterday about it, and I said, man, it's so cool how you, Jewish, Caucasian, Giselle, Catholic, Filipina, you have these two great kids. You guys love your fucking kids. It's really an incredible family environment. If you think about that.
That's a bit easy.
Right?
There's some high points.
The reason it's so difficult is you can't knock the shit out of your kids anymore. That's the main reason it's not easy.
Yeah, it would be a lot easier if I could beat up my kids.
Just come here, man. Pow!
I can still take both of my kids too, but Brady's getting bigger.
Yeah, but they frown on it. They frown on, all right, I'm not going to kick your ass. It's not easy. But being in any family isn't easy. And if you look what you and Giselle have been able to do, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean we're trying every day.
Well, but factually, it's really good. You have healthy children. You are making it a religious home for them to feel free to practice religion. You put them in an environment where, one of the reasons I'm most proud of you. I love you for many reasons, but you're really good at learning shit. And I remember when you were going to have to start taking the kids to school. And I said, dude, you should revel in it because it's walking your kids to school.
No doubt.
And you do that now, and it's a beautiful thing. And I see your family, and it's working. You're working a completely diverse, multicultural family. And it's not, shitty. It's a good deal. It's a good deal.
Yeah.
That's what multiculturalism is. And so when you look at, and part of that is religion. Part of it is whether it's Judaism or Catholicism. I think your parents don't have to be, hardcore anything in a religion if they're teaching you the core aspects of religion. And Judaism does that. You look and you see, so it had more of a pact. I mean, you're shitty about not being orthodox enough, but that, like your dad and your grandfather, they've taught you things about compassion and respect that other people don't have, and that's from Judaism. And then you take that with Giselle and her Catholicism, so you've taken the positive parts of those things and plugged them into a kick-ass little fucking family. And your wife is way fucking hotter than you. So, No.
But I'm way fucking funnier than you. So like, dude,
Like,
the world,
that
it's the
even
yin and the
stunned him.
yang,
He's
man.
like, wait a minute,
The
wait,
world
she's
has
not-
a way to work things out.
What's worse is it stunned him. He's like, hey, she's not hotter than I. Yes, she is.
Yes,
She's
she
fucking.
is.
It's
Yes,
not
she
even
is.
close.
But I still had to save face.
But she will make you. But she is so hot that you'll see them together, and you'll do the old guy thing. Whoa, shit, she's with that dude.
Yeah. Oh, it's a level up, dude. No doubt, man. I used to tell Giselle, I was like, people ask about you more than they ask about me after my shows. Like, yo, but what's up with your wife? You were really funny, but what's your wife doing? I mean, girls, not dudes.
Hey, let me ask you about this though. If you think about if people were approaching the world like you and Giselle do, how much less racism do you think would be there?
Man, you ask hard questions.
But it's true. But no. But this is just no. It's just because you don't ever want to.
I mean, well, you're.
But that's significant. It's meaningful, and that's the whole point of this.
I mean, I just don't think. I guess in Southern California, I feel like there's so many
plenty-
multicultural
plenty of
families.
plenty
so I
of
don't
people
feel
in
that's
California.
special. But the religious thing is TBD, bro. I mean, we'll see how that works out. But at I'm not.
But it's all of it. It's the religious thing and it's the ethnic thing. It's all of them. That's
for sure.
It's that Catholicism. It's that Judaism. It's that Filipina. It's that Caucasian, and it's all of that is put you guys in this spot. I would just assume if you were having a party at your house and someone said, let's go beat up niggers, that probably wouldn't happen.
Nah.
But no, but listen. No. All right. I'm just telling you, you say that, but you find it humorous and funny. That shit happens every day. You
really? Where people show up at other people's cribs and say, let's go beat up N-words?
Do you see the news where you had 13 Caucasians going to go?
Oh yeah, but those are like cave people. They're the minority.
No,
not us. We're the majority.
Yeah, but we are and we aren't. But there are plenty of homes in America where utterly stupid things are said.
Oh yeah,
and
we don't tolerate none of that.
But it's not even that you don't necessarily tolerate. It just doesn't.
They wouldn't
happen.
even think about it.
I mean,
it's ridiculous.
And that's where I keep going back on this. By being multicultural, our lives are just it's shit that, and I feel bad for Caucasians at some or any group that has this harboring this resentment. It's like, man, you miss so much shit in the world where you're worried that a black guy or a Latino or
you're not dominating anything, you're confining yourself.
Oh yeah, and it's limiting and it's fucked up. But that's the thing is, and it's funny that you laugh because it really is. It's like, dude, there's. I have a friend. I remember we live in Long Beach, and I remember watching two gay guys walk down the street holding hands, and it literally brought tears to my eyes because one of the first gay guys I knew in Missouri, he talked to me about his parents hating him because he's gay.
Yeah. And
I just remember going, man, that's so fucked up. And it's something I'd never heard in my life. And then when I came here and I see it, I was like, man, that's so fucking cool. And I'm so happy for them. And it's great that you laugh about what it is that you guys are creating. But those kids that you have in your family, that's different. If we can export that, we can share that with people. We could say, hey man, dude, your kids, if you could be the whitest dude. I have an old law partner of mine, Mike Fatal. He's kind of an angry old white dude, and I'm sure he says the N-word with the ER at the end. But he has a grandson who's interracial, and it has changed him. And it's encouraging and it's positive. But it also shows, man, this is the power of multiculturalism. If we get out there and if we start saying, listen, we're going to do shit our way. We're going to make decisions how we make them, and we could change the fucking country. Could change the country.
Yeah. I mean, I think multiculturalism and weed are two of the biggest things that can help this country moving forward that we need to get going on.
Why so? What when you say weed, why is that?
From the economic perspectives, from the way it can replace the culture of alcohol that's too easily abused.
Don't you?
The way it can reduce heroin addiction and substance in general, I think it's positive.
Don't you think though that the economic promise of cannabis has never really reached into minority communities? You remember at Compton Chronic, we did this. We had this we did these radio ads, and we said, hey, if African Americans and Latinos and Asians, if we can't support a fucking dispensary, then we're fucked. And people attacked us for it, and they did all that shit.
They called us racist.
Oh my God, it was crazy. But so we were in the game in 2016, and now when you look, you're more on the corporate side of cannabis now. There's no minority representation. Do you think? Virgil Grant is California cannabis.
I would say that the California cannabis scene is much more diverse at a corporate level than the California alcohol scene.
Wow, that's a good point. That's great.
I mean, it's not perfect, but I would say there's definitely a natural diversity in cannabis just because of all the people of different cultures that have brought money to the game and build diverse teams.
Well, there you go. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but it's not, I don't know if it's proportionate. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's hard to say. I surround myself by diverse folks, but there could be a lot of other companies that are way less diverse, and I just don't know because I don't see them. Right. But the vibe in general is,
that's
pretty.
That's like Eddie Murphy's line. He's like, people don't usually say nigger around me. You remember that one?
Yeah. I think the only punchline where the N-word was really, where the joke still holds up from Eddie is when he says, there's a sale on underwear, but this N-word's dicks in my coffee.
He goes,
you want me to stir it for you, motherfucker?
No, well, here's another great N-word is, which we laugh at all the time at the end of Trading Places, usual Mortimer. And he's like, let some nigger run our business. And you're just like, and it's the liberal dude who's supposed to be all great. He just goes straight to the hardcore.
Let's not get this twisted.
Well,
right.
Let's put out one other thing, and thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
It's funny is I remember watching, and this is just on the broader spectrum of race and why we have an obligation, I think. And I remember watching this German lady being interviewed about the Holocaust. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, do you feel bad about what happened to the Jewish people? And I remember this woman, she had this, she was like this statuesque. And she says, let me tell you something. By the time they started putting Jews into the concentration camps, they'd killed all the Germans that would objected to it. They had already gassed them. And I remember looking at that going, son of a bitch, that is deep.
Yeah, they killed the dudes that would have actually fought them. They're ghosts.
Oh, it was amazing.
Yeah, we got rid of them.
And again, I don't want to get into politics, but this is why it's critical for us to start taking a role. Shit that's going on today is chilling. We have the federal government picking up protesters in the streets and taking them to federal facilities and holding them. We have people talking about kidnapping elected officials. So you could look at
talking about conspiring to the point of a criminal level.
Good point. So you can who's your production buddy? Brendan?
Yeah.
He'd post something on Facebook and we were talking about, I said, this feels like 1938 Germany. If you look and see, you look at the shit that's out there, it's important.
There's indicators, there's data points that match up. There's tropes that match up, but this is not 1938 Germany. This is fucking 2020 America. Which means that, and Trump's not Hitler. So it's the next guy we got to worry about, and we got to start to learn that we are going to have a fascist, racist element in this country for some time to come.
Do you think that, and I don't want you to be political, I want to ask you factually, do you think if Trump had the opportunity, he would suspend our constitutional rights? Would he?
If he thought it was in his best interest to stay in power, absolutely.
Wow.
He will always choose himself over the American people and the Constitution. He's proved it.
Let me ask you this, because you're Jewish. When they did that Chancellorsville shit, was that shocking?
Charlottesville?
Was it Charlottesville?
Chancellorsville was a fucking replace this thing.
Yeah, dude, that was.
It was wild to see that many of them together.
It was shocking.
I know those guys exist. They've always existed.
See, I've never seen it. I was stunned.
But to see them come out openly like that, Yeah, it was. I mean, they do it with KKK still. It's just they're hyped. They're hyped up again, and those weren't teeth missing KKK guys. Those were like college boys.
It's crazy,
acting all Nazi-ish. It was strange.
How does Kushner and whatever his daughter's name is? How do you think they process that? Given and Kushner is an Orthodox Jewish person, he's very observant.
They process it by being the scum fucky bottom feeding pieces of shit they are. They explain it away to themselves and get back to their mission of whatever next hustle they got or fucking grit. They're scumbags.
Do you think that they are? To me, that scares me. I saw that happening, and if I were Jewish, I would say.
That's why. Yeah, Stephen Miller is also another Nazi Jew.
You know what he looks like too?
A dude that needs to get his ass beat.
No, he looks like Hitler's propaganda guy. It's really creepy.
Goebbels?
Goebbels was the big fat dude who I'm reading this thing about. He would have a red kimono on.
Yeah, bunch of fucking homos, every one of them.
This was, I don't think they're gay, but this was, goddamn.
All Nazis are closet gays, man.
No, it was the little one, the dude who had the fucking limp. He had a club foot, everything about, and he would call Jewish people it's like, dude, you're like 5'6" and you have a club foot. It was
Hitler wasn't the model of tall Aryan.
By then he's just a drug addict. But this was the little skinny dude. It wasn't Goebbels. It was
I forget.
Yeah, but it's amazing to see. But I watched that Charlottesville thing, and I told people, I said, I keep telling you, this shit is real. And if they're going to do that against Jewish people, I used to do this great friend of mine once when I went to law school.
They didn't really do anything against Jewish people. They just put on a fantastic. They put on a fantastic march.
That's horrifying. I mean,
but they're doing things to brown people, to people seeking asylum at the border. They're doing things.
I agree.
People, and
I agree.
And Jewish people, I guess, for whatever reason, feel like, they're relatively protected, but Jewish people need to stand up now for people who are not relatively protected, because we won't be protected forever.
I'm reading this thing about Einstein, and he was like, you got to get the fuck out of here. But it's not just Jewish people. It's when you see what they did, that marching shit, and it was just my premise of, the difference. Guy used to say to me, I remember I was in law school, he says, he goes, you want to hear a good Jew joke? And I said, you want to know the difference between a good Jew joke and a good nigger joke? And he goes, what? I go, I'm here.
Yeah. I'll beat your ass right now.
No, but it's just the thing, they're just interchangeable. They don't give a fuck.
When I got to college, I met this kid. He was on the baseball team. He lived on my floor. He was from some, central Pennsylvania town, some country boy. And we're all, you don't choose your friends the first week of college. You just kind of, whoever's around, you hit the parties together and you all stumble back to the floor together.
Right.
Or if you stay together. I didn't stay with those geeks. I went and met girls.
Right.
But
or a girl.
Yeah, we were walking to the party, and he goes, I asked if anybody had a piece of gum. And he goes, I only got a Jew tab.
Wow.
Which meant like half a piece.
A Jew tab? I've never heard that.
Dude,
wow.
Right? So this kid's so amateur. Like, I grew up in Pittsburgh. I played JCC basketball, and we used to play in the CYO League. We used to go into gyms in white neighborhoods. They'd throw pennies at us. They'd cross kikes. We'd fight them. I didn't give a fuck about your dumb Jew tab joke. Anyway, but I tell him, I go, I'm Jewish, right? And he goes, at this kid's face, he looked like he was going to cry, dog. He was like, no. And he was like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, dude, it's cool, bro. It was like a shitty joke. Wow. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. I'm just letting you know you might want to watch your mouth. And then we break up, and like fucking we lose. We don't hang out. And
next thing you know, you saw him marching in Charlottesville.
Later in the night, I'm walking like to another party or somewhere. That kid pops out of a bush out of nowhere. It felt like it, and he was like, seriously, man, it's not how I was raised. I don't want you to think. I was like, dog, it's cool, bro. And it's just like, it's funny because he clearly didn't want to be like that. It's just how he was raised. Yeah. It's just a joke he knew. But you know what I'm saying? And it's like,
and I agree that there's a.
But it takes people to check them.
Right. Exactly. I was just going to say, you may not have been raised that way, but you thought it was okay. It's like the first time I moved.
I'm not tripping, bro, but heads up.
Yeah, but
learn your lesson.
Yeah, but by the way, you say you weren't raised that way, but that's again why it's important for us to say that. I remember when I moved from Linwood, California to Baldwin, Kansas. It was the first time I've ever heard nigger. I was, whoa, hey,
it's got
whoa,
a whole different twang to it in Kansas.
That fucking sounded different.
Yeah. I bet.
All right, well, Zachy, you got you.
What happened after you heard that dude drop that? Did you on the rugby team stomp his face out?
Oh, that was just rugby. When me and Jason we're playing in Dallas, and it's in the playoffs, and we tackled somewhere or some shit. Jason's my interracial brother, just had a surgery. What's up, Jay?
Big dog.
This guy goes, "You fucking nigger," and both me and Jason
at the same time.
It was but that was cool. That was rugby. That was rugby.
Yeah, you call me the N-word, I punch you. It is what it is. All good. Yeah, let's all go drink out of a boot.
What are you promoting this week? Where can people find you for your uplifting views on Judaism and African Americans?
Oh man, well I will tell you, these type of opinions are exclusively for the Fletchcast. I usually don't necessarily talk
disclaimer
about all these type of topics, but you can catch me at the Bad Libs podcast. It's at Bad Libs Pod, Bad Libs, like we're bad liberals. Anywhere podcasts are heard. You can find me at Zach Miller Dog, ZachMillerDog.com. I'm sweeted up.
What do you guys, Hempers?
Hempers Club
is funny.
Once a month comedy variety show I do online. Just go to hemperscomedy.com. But if you holler at me on the gram or anywhere, I can tell you what's up.
Should we make fun of the interracial dude next to us, or should we just leave the boy alone today? Or should
you talking about that child you hired?
Yeah,
produce this
podcast? Dude, yeah, but he's an interracial dude. We figured, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, he's a young brother on the come up, dude. Going to be directing $500 million features in 15 years.
Well, they fucked it up.
And he's going to give me a little piece in Iron Man. He's going to give me a little cameo in Iron Man 16.
Hey, do your bit where you used to say that Jews were spies for black guys.
Oh, that's the one I was trying to do before. It was I forget how the bit started. I haven't done it in so long. It's
I remember
Jewish people are the ethnic spy. We look white, but we're not white. But since we look white, we can hang out with white people and hear all the shit they talk about black people. Then we go back to the black people. We tell the black people what the white people said, and the black people give us free weed, and have been since 1964 in the Great American Negro Hebrew Weed Pact between Dr. Martin Luther King and Rabbi Shlomo Weedowitz.
Zach Miller, ladies and gentlemen. Zach Miller. Thank you very much. See you in the podcast. Bye.
Boom.
The Fletchcast. It's genetics. The Fletchcast is produced by the Laugh Bureau in association with young club member Mark Samuel Media. Yes.